Here are today's headlines. President Duterte is expected to fly to Albay as lahar from Mayon volcano threatens residents. Media practitioners from all over the ASEAN region unite to improve journalism and stop the spread of so-called fake news. President Duterte vows hassle-free business for investors as the Philippines and India expands cooperation in trade and security. A museum in Cavite launches an app that provides an interactive experience for visiting millennials. Good day, I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Duterte is expected to check out the situation in Albay as Alert Level 4 remains over Mayon volcano. Local officials warned the public of possible lahar flows from Mayon that may be triggered by heavy rains. Here's a report.
President Rodrigo Duterte is expected to visit Albay and see firsthand its effect on residents. Duterte expressed his intention to fly to Albay following his trip from New Delhi for the ASEAN-India Commemorative Summit. He expected difficulty landing in the province as ash warnings continue to deter flights. On the ground, local officials are on the lookout for lahar possibly caused by heavy rains brought by the tail end of the cold front. The Albay Public Safety Emergency Management Office or APSEMO urged communities and local government units to move residents to high ground when heavy rains continue. Heavy rains have increased the dangers of lahar flows on Mayon volcano's major channels with deposits of thick pyroclastic materials and ash fall. APSEMO's warning reiterated the alert issued by PHIVOC Saturday morning, which noted that the deposits could be remobilized by rainwater and generate lahars by themselves and or through existing erodible material on channel banks. PHIVOC warned of potential lahars and sediment-laden stream flows on all river channels draining the slopes of Mayon volcano. There was also the perennial life-threatening dangers of rock falls, landslides, and avalanches at the middle to upper slopes, sudden ash puffs, and steam-driven or phreatic eruptions from the summit. Alert Level 4 remains over Mayon even after it had 4 lava fountain eruptions on Sunday. Mayon had 3 episodes of lava fountaining since midnight and another in the afternoon. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Flaine Cervantes.
The Department of Health remains on Code Blue alert due to Oplan Mayon operations, with round-the-clock medical stations offering free consultations in every evacuation site. The DOH reported its heightened and sustained efforts in assisting nearby communities around Mayon volcano as it continues to exhibit unrest, lava fountaining, and summit explosions. Earlier, the DOH Central Office ordered a quick release fund of 5 million pesos to DOH Bicol to finance immediate response activities. A rapid health assessment team has been deployed since January 13 in the several evacuation sites, including Camalig, Ginobatan, Daraga, Tobaco City, Santo Domingo, Malilipot, Legazpi City, and Ligao City, Albay. DOH Bicol still has over 6 million pesos worth of assorted medicines and commodities in stock at their warehouse. DOH hospitals, particularly Bicol Regional Training and Teaching Hospital and Bicol Medical Center, are also tasked to open fast lanes, augment health workers, and assist evacuation centers. To date, the eruption has now affected over 83,000 families. About 17,000 families are currently accommodated in 67 evacuation centers. Media practitioners across the ASEAN region will convene a regional forum in July to squarely tackle the issue of dealing with fake news. Journalists have shown their solidarity in tackling media-related issues at the 19th General Assembly of the Confederation of ASEAN Journalists, or CAJ, held in Bangkok, Thailand. The two-day discussion was attended by presidents and officers, including the National Press Club of the Philippines. Participants and observers of the regional bloc expressed alarm about the impact of fake news online and vowed to take a strong action against it. Thepchait Young, newly elected president of the CAJ, said the spread of fake news also contributed to the decline of quality journalism in the mainstream media. NPC President Paul Gutierrez, meanwhile, noted that while the Philippines already have laws against cybercrime and data privacy, the Senate is yet to enact a law against fake news. Press organizations are encouraged to conduct similar forums and to share information that can help them assert the importance of legitimate and mainstream media in society. President Rodrigo Duterte has appointed 19 of the 25 members of the Consultative Committee that will review the country's 1987 Constitution. President Duterte has designated former Supreme Court Chief Justice Reynato Puno as chairman of the consultative body. Former Senator Aquilino Pimentel Jr., father of incumbent Senate President Aquilino Pimentel III, has been appointed as member along with 17 others. On December 7, 2016, President Duterte signed Executive Order No. 10, creating a 25-member consultative body tasked to review the 1987 Constitution. The committee will study, conduct consultations, and review the provisions of the Constitution, including but not limited to the structure and powers of the government, local governance, and economic policies. The revision of the Constitution and the shift to a federal form of government are among the top priorities of the Duterte administration. Fitch Ratings revised upwards the long-term issuer default ratings of the Land Bank of the Philippines and Development Bank of the Philippines following the same upgrade of the domestic economy's rating last December. The Debt Watcher revised its ratings for the Philippines 2 levels higher than junk status in December 2017 on sustained improvement of macroeconomic fundamentals. Fitch said the upgrade of the bank's ratings to BBB from BBB- was due to the improvement of their support rating floors. It explained that the rules appear to have been expanded and future rules made clearer after pronouncements by the administration of President Rodrigo Duterte. Land Bank earlier acquired Philippine Postal Savings Bank to convert it to the newly launched Overseas Filipino Bank, or OF Bank, in line with Duterte's program. The current administration has also tasked DBP to focus more on infrastructure projects in line with the government's bid to increase infrastructure investments to about 7% by 2022. Police in Zamboanga City arrested 2 alleged members of the Abu Sayyaf group involved in the kidnapping of plantation workers 16 years ago in Basilan. Chief Superintendent Billy Beltran, Police Regional Office 9 Director, identified the suspects as Rabulat Balito and Isa Sampang alias Sunny Abubakar. Both Balito and Sampang had standing arrest warrants for their alleged involvement in the kidnapping of workers at the Golden Harvest Plantation in Barangay Tairan, Lantawan, Basilan. Balito and Sampang are the 6th and 7th members of the ASG involved in the kidnapping arrested by authorities this year. The Abu Sayyaf bandits seized 15 workers when they raided the Golden Harvest Plantation. They had executed them by beheading some of the hostages while the others either escaped or were rescued by pursuing military forces. Still to come, President Duterte vows hassle-free business for investors as the Philippines and India expands cooperation in trade and security. A local seaweed species in Palawan is eyed as a potential means of livelihood and scientific research. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Ulat sa ginagawa ng Presidente. January 18, Huwebes, Liwasang Bonifacio. Binuksan ni Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte ang Overseas Filipino Bank bilang pagtupad ng Pangulo na mapagaan ang transaksyon sa pera ng mga kapatid nating OFW. Malago Clubhouse, Malacanang. Humingi ng paumanhin ang Pangulo sa 2 balikbayan na ninakawan ng gamit sa Clark International Airport at nangakong hindi na mauulit ang nakawan.
Sinabi ko sa manager ng dalawa, in front of together, I said, a similar in one more incident and all of you will go. Look for another job. Be sure na walang zipper mabukas dyan.
January 20, Sabado, Davao City. Ibinalik ng Pangulo sa malayang lipunan ang dalawang rebel returnees na miyembro ng New People's Army. January 22, Lunes, Compostela Valley. Naglunsad ang Pangulo ng tienda para sa mga bayani, isang trading center sa loob ng kampo na direktang makapagtitinda sa mga sundalo, ang mga magsasaka at mangingisda ng kanilang produkto. January 23, Martes, Malacanang. Tinanggap ng Pangulo ang credentials ng tatlong bagong talagang ambassadors mula Portugal, Ukraine at Yemen. Malugod na hinarap ni Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte ang dating Pangulo ng Poland at Nobel laureate na si Lech Walesa. January 24, Miyerkules. Nagtungo ang Pangulo sa India para sa ASEAN-India Commemorative Summit. Sa isang pulong kay India Prime Minister Narendra Modi ay paksa ang trade and economic relations ng Pilipinas sa India. Saksi rin ang dalawang pinuno sa lagdaan ng Memorandum of Understanding ng dalawang bansa. Ito ang Duterte on duty. Abangan sa susunod na linggo ang mga gagawin ng Pangulo.
President Duterte has secured the support of India as it undergoes bilateral negotiations with the Philippines on trade and military cooperation and other regional issues. Duterte then assured Indian investors of a hassle-free business environment in the Philippines. Here's our report.
President Rodrigo Duterte and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi have agreed to expand bilateral ties, particularly on trade and security cooperation. The two leaders met for more than 1 hour as President Duterte attended the India-ASEAN Commemorative Summit and India's Republic Day celebration. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said there will be further bilateral negotiations on issues involving trade and even military cooperation in the next 2 months. Roque said Duterte has emphasized that India and the ASEAN must cooperate militarily in combating modern-day terrorism and threat of piracy. He added that the president took some time explaining his war on drugs to the Indian Prime Minister, who responded very positively. Meanwhile, President Duterte assured Indian investors of a hassle-free business environment in the Philippines. Duterte witnessed the presentation of $1.25 billion worth of business agreements between the Philippines and India in New Delhi. In front of Indian and Filipino businessmen, Duterte reiterated his commitment to fight corruption and to address the problem of law and order, especially on terrorism. Duterte told his audience that his anti-corruption campaign has resulted in the firing even of his own appointees in the government. He urged businessmen not to go into the business processes that they believe is wrong. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez said the Philippines has submitted 7 letters of intent and 2 memoranda of understanding to India. The agreements will cover affordable medicines, renewable energy, infrastructure, and IT business process management. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Rom Dulfo.
The Office of the Solicitor General asked the Supreme Court through the Office of the Ombudsman to file charges against former President Benigno Aquino III and former police officials over the 2015 Mamasapano clash. The 2015 Mamasapano clash resulted in the death of more than 60 people, including 44 members of the elite PNP Special Action Force. Solicitor General Jose Calida and Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission Chairman Dante Jimenez filed a manifestation in support to the petition filed by 2 relatives of the slain members of the elite force. Calida asked the SC to nullify the dismissal of the reckless imprudence resulting in multiple homicide charges against Aquino, former PNP Chief Alan Purisima, and former Special Action Force Director Getulio Napeñas Jr. They insisted that the liability of the respondents over the Mamasapano carnage was grounded on the faulty planning and execution of Oplan Exodus. Calida also stressed that as president, Aquino is ultimately responsible for the operation. Aquino had insisted that botched operation was not his fault. The Philippine Stock Exchange Index broke the 9,000 mark following positive sentiments on the country's economic growth. Here's our report.
Positive sentiments on the Philippine economy pushed the Philippine Stock Exchange Index to a new record high Friday. PSE Index surged to 9,041.20 points, attributed by a trader to investor sentiment on the sustained growth of the domestic economy. The trader attributed this partly to the recent government report on the 2017 expansion of the domestic economy, which registered a 6.7% growth as measured by gross domestic product. This growth is next to China's 6.9% and Vietnam's 6.8% expansion last year, but is within the government's 6.5 to 7.5% target range last year. PSE President and CEO Ramon Monzon said the main index registered 8 record highs so far this year and has risen by 5.6% to date. He said reaching record territory reflects the high confidence investors have in the Philippine market. With this development, the broader all shares went up 0.33% to 5,262.30 points. Most of the sectors also ended the week positively, with holding firms leading the list, followed by property, industrial, and services. On the other hand, mining and oil fell 0.76% and financials 0.44%. Volume reached 1.02 billion shares amounting to 7.8 billion pesos. Meanwhile, the peso finished Friday sideways at 50.84 from Thursday's 50.81, which another trader pointed to comments by U.S. President Donald Trump, who said he expects the greenback to further strengthen. The peso is projected to trade between 50.70 and 51 to $1 this week. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Mundo.
The Department of Public Works and Highways has completed 5.71 billion pesos worth of infrastructure projects in Western Visayas last year. DPWH Region 6 Regional Director Wenceslao Leo Jr. reported 727 program projects under the fiscal year 2017 regular infra program. The program includes construction of roads, bridges, flood control structures, and other infrastructure to include roads leading to tourism areas in the islands of Panay, Negros, and Guimaras. The undertakings completed include 113 kilometers of national roads, over 500 lineal meters of bridges, 40 flood control projects, and other infra projects. The DPWH Region 6 is also undertaking over 300 ongoing projects in Iloilo Aklan, Antique, Capiz, Guimaras, and Negros Occidental. Likewise, it completed a total of 40 projects over 20 kilometers of farm-to-market road funded by the Department of Agriculture. For this year, DPWH Region 6 has a total allocation of 31.95 billion pesos to the Duterte administration's Build Infrastructure Program. The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources is mulling the lifting of the ban of the gathering, selling, and export of the large brown seaweed sargassum in Palawan. BFAR Assistant Regional Director Roberto Abrera said that the agency is reconsidering the ban on sargassum known in coastal villages as lusay-lusay imposed in 2014. The ban was imposed because they serve as spawning grounds for fry species when they are attached to the seabed. Abrera said that other than its economic use as fertilizer, sargassum now has been discovered to also have therapeutic potentials and health benefits. He said the microalga is undergoing studies and research around the world as insect repellent, fertilizer, and for having naturally high antioxidant and anti-cancer contents, among others. The farming of sargassum will also be studied by research institutions to minimize gathering in the wild. Maximo Rico Hermoso, Seaweeds Industry Association of the Philippines chairman, said an estimated 30,000 metric tons of the brown seaweed are available for harvest with an annual value of 450 million pesos. Up next, one-round victories by international MMA fighters highlight a top fighting tournament at the SM Mall of Asia Arena. A museum in Cavite launches an app that provides an interactive experience for visiting millennials. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns. President Duterte reiterated his order to eliminate the New People's Army, adding that he also wants the left's legal and financial fronts to be investigated. Here's our report.
After declaring the Communist Party of the Philippines New People's Army as terrorists, President Rodrigo Duterte is now eyeing to look into the financial deals of communist legal fronts. The president said there could be some money laundering activities done by communist rebels given the collection of revolutionary taxes from big agricultural, mining companies and other businesses. Duterte said he was just waiting for the Supreme Court to decide on his earlier proclamation declaring the CPP-NPA as terrorist group. Duterte reiterated that there would be no more talks and the government will not reach out to them anymore. The president also declared to go after the legal fronts of the CPP-NPA, which are suspected of illegally collecting taxes for their affiliate associations. Duterte called on these groups to stop claiming they are for the people when their sole agenda is to destabilize the government. Duterte also warned of shutting down companies giving money to the NPA in the guise of a revolutionary tax. He said he firmly believed that mining firms and banana plantations were the ones who gave money to the rebels. He stressed that his orders are to destroy the NPA and all its fronts through all means available for the government.
Pero kung enemies of the state, my orders are really to destroy the apparatus. Itong NPA, tutudasin ko talaga sila, tatapusin ko. The talks are over. No more talks. And I will go after the legal fronts.
For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Lilian Melihor.
International-level MMA fighters brought down their respective opponents in just one round at the One Global Superheroes Tournament. Here's our report.
Joshua Pasha returned to his winning track after dominating Lan Min Kiang in the co-main event of One Global Superheroes at the SM Mall of Asia Arena. Pasha brought Lan down to the canvas and later on performed a rear naked choke that forced Lan to tap out at the 4-minute mark of the very first round. Pasha's win has put him back at the one strawweight title picture. Meanwhile, China's Ma Haobin relied on his striking ability to defeat Bulgaria's Sotil Kishukhov. All three judges gave Ma the unanimous decision win in the only match that went to the scorecards. In another match, Edward Kelly blemished Mea Smol's unscathed MMA record with a huge knockout. It was a lucky strike for the younger of the Kelly brothers, as the impact of a high kick attempt and a follow-up knee was enough to send the Cambodian Mul out cold in just 21 seconds. Eric Kelly, however, failed to duplicate his younger brother's win after bowing to Rafael Nunes. Nunes sent Kelly down to set up a DRC choke, leading him to a submission victory. In a special attraction, Sam Agayang Hadao shocked reigning WBC Muay Thai Super Bantamweight champion Joseph Lasili via a second-round knockout in a non-title fight. Japanese Hayato Suzuki scored a rear-naked choke on Brazilian Iago Bryan that forced the latter to tap out with 57 seconds left in round 1. Before that, Thailand's Emilio Urrutia delivered a 1-2 combination to Brazil's Bruno Pucci that knocked the latter out at the 3:33 mark of the first round. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondo.
The Philippines' top figure skater Michael Martinez will make his second straight Winter Olympics appearance in Pyeongchang after one of the competitors for the said meet was forced to back out. Martinez failed to land a spot after only finishing 8th in the Nebelhorn Trophy competition, where the top 7 finishers clinched a place in the February 9 event at the South Korean city. However, the Swedish Olympic Committee barred Alexander Mazurov from competing in the Winter Olympics as his score during the European Championships was short of the committee's cutoff for qualification. Barring a reversal of the SOC decision, Martinez looks to improve on his 19th place finish in Sochi in 2014. Visiting the Museo ni Emilio Aguinaldo in Cavite is getting a high-tech twist with an app that gives visitors an interactive virtual tour of the museum and its highlights. Here's our report.
The historic museo ni Emilio Aguinaldo in Cavite, Cavite has turned techie, giving the National Historical Commission of the Philippines hope that it will captivate the attention of Filipino millennials. The NHCP launched Friday an educational Android application featuring the MEA called Hablamos. The introduction of the app highlighted Friday's opening of the museum's exhibit dubbed Repaso, Hablamos in Retrospect, which animates the museum artifacts and runs until February 23. MEA curator Heidi Paulette Bedrus said the app, which is downloadable via Google Play Store, aimed not just to augment the museum experience of guests, but also to exhibit the history of the museum artifacts. Bedrus said the museum artifacts were now introduced in a more interactive platform popular to the millennials. The MEA Talking Artifacts app was done in collaboration with application developer Sara Servito. It initially featured the 12 Hablamos artifacts, telling their stories from their physical attributes to their historical significance. Among the museum's 12 artifacts is Aguinaldo's sword, a military saber which traces its origins from Toledo, Spain and forged in 1869. Another artifact is Mela de Mesa, an altar table for saints and other religious items built with influences from Chinese symbolisms. Many artists collaborated to illustrate the graphics in the app. Bedrus pointed out they wanted to provide a wider and more interactive information platform. She, however, stressed that while the app is there to augment the museum experience, they still want the people to come to the museum. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country.
Malacanang has placed overall Deputy Ombudsman Melchor Carandang on preventive suspension. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque announced that Carandang will be suspended for 90 days. Carandang was also charged with grave misconduct.
Now, this was pursuant to a complaint filed by Attorney Manuelito R. Luna and Attorney Elegio P. Malyari. Furthermore, the Office of the Executive Secretary placed under preventive suspension overall Deputy Ombudsman Melchor Arthur H. Carandang for a period of 90 days, effective immediately upon receipt of this order. According to the formal charge, this complaint and the formal charge, as well as the preventive suspension, had to do, and I quote, with statements made by Deputy Ombudsman Carandang.
Roque said the Office of the Executive Secretary filed administrative charges for leaking confidential information regarding the investigation on the Duterte family's alleged unexplained wealth. Carandang had earlier said that his office approved the request of the Deputy Ombudsman for Mindanao to obtain the report of the Anti-Money Laundering Council, or AMLAC, on the alleged bank transactions of the President's family. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Let's take another look at today's headlines. President Duterte is expected to fly to Albay as lahar from Mayon volcano threatens residents. Media practitioners from all over the ASEAN region unite to improve journalism and stop the spread of so-called fake news. President Duterte vows hassle-free business for investors as the Philippines and India expands cooperation in trade and security. A museum in Cavite launches an app that provides an interactive experience for visiting millennials. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and all that it is doing for the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the hottest news and the latest information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Good day.